You're good to go.
Yes.
He said yes.
He's
Yes.
put a bump on 39.
All right. Ready, everybody? I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Moore.
Here.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Here.
Councilman Isili.
Here.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Martell.
Here.
All right, let's get started today on our work session agenda with a review of the draft agenda for the meeting next week. We're going to have 4 public hearings. The first one is to accept a deed of residual fee from Ross and Conklin for property to be maintained as open space located in Watermill pursuant to Southampton Town Code Section 244-4 and 247 General Municipal Law of the State of New York at the Suffolk County tax map number as indicated. The second public hearing is for a local law amending Town Code Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, amending and adding parking prohibited in designated locations, regulations on a portion of County Road 80, Montauk Highway, East Quogue. The third public hearing is to amend Town Code Chapter 312 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Article 7, entitled Seasonal Parking Restrictions in Designated Locations, Section 312-37, entitled Watermill, May 15th to September 15th. And the fourth public hearing is to consider a 1-year agricultural use agreement for 2025-2026 pursuant to Chapter 247 of the Town Code. All right, so I'll get started. Town Board Resolution 2025-490. And this is co-sponsored by Councilmember Isili. And this was on last month and we tabled it for clarification. And so it was found out that the Peconic Estuary Program is different from the Peconic Estuary Partnership. And it's a group of the county, 6 towns and 3 villages. Brookhaven is the current committee chair. And Southampton Town, Dorothy, maintains the finances, receives the receivables, all the members pay dues. And they have meetings every other month in Riverhead. And this resolution is just to allocate funds for Corey Humphrey salary in that regard. And it's something that we do annually, I'm told.
This one's going to be withdrawn.
This one will be withdrawn because I thought it best to clarify a little bit more that this isn't money from the town that's going out. This is just money that the town holds and distributes. So this will be withdrawn, and there's one in the add-ons to replace it. Okay. Town Board Resolution ID number 49558 to authorize the purchase of traffic signal installation and modification with Hink Electrical Contractor. Town Board Resolution ID number 49531 to authorize purchases and installation of solar photovoltaic systems with Eldor Contracting Corp. Using Suffolk County contract.
Town Board Resolution ID 49425, authorize purchases from Cintas for workplace solutions using Omnia Partners contract.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49604 to authorize purchases of HVAC and air conditioning service and new installation with Premier Mechanical Services, Inc. using the Suffolk County contract. Town Board Resolution ID number 49600 to authorize purchases of mobile computing solutions from Panasonic Connect North America, division of Panasonic Corporation of North America, using Omnia Partners contract. Town Board Resolution ID number 49672 to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documents for the 2026 Child Passenger Safety Incentive Grant through the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. And Town Board Resolution ID number 49673 to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documents for the 2026 Police Traffic Safety Grant through the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee. And both of those do not have a match component.
Town Board Resolution 49647. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign Family Service League grant agreement to provide mental health outreach and counseling to youth and families.
Town Board Resolution ID 49649, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorize supervisor to execute the 2025 Human Understanding and Growth Service HUGS contract.
Town Board Resolution 49560 authorizes the supervisor to execute the 2025 Inspirational Triathlon Racing Inc. DBA iTri contract.
Town Board Resolution ID 49661, authorize supervisor to renew the purchase of network hardware and software maintenance from SourcePath Contemporary LLC.
Town Board Resolution 49550, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extended for supply and fabrication of steel, aluminum, and welding with Pennsylvania Steel Corp. Inc. Town Board Resolution ID 49671, co-sponsored with the whole board, authorize supervisor to sign any and all documents for the New York State Multiple Parks and Recreation Grant Program for the Hampton West Park and renovation.
Fingers crossed that we get the grant.
Town Board Resolution ID 49645, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, authorize supervisor to sign contract with Lero Engineers, Inc. for professional services related to asbestos project monitoring at 20 South Valley Road, Hampton Bays. Town Board Resolution ID 49651, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorize supervisor to sign contract with Lero Engineers, Inc. to provide professional engineering services for Hampton West Park sports courts and parking lot improvements.
Town Board Resolution ID 49652, authorize the supervisor to execute a service order with Box Incorporated for Business Plus account licenses.
Town Board Resolution ID 49655, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Suffolk County Office for the Aging for expanded in-home services for the elderly. Town Board Resolution ID 49648, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, authorize the supervisor to execute, sign, it should just say execute a contract, sign removed, with H2M Architects and Engineers to provide professional engineering services for upgrade of the SCADA system and upgrade tank monitoring.
Sorry. We're removing execute?
Removing sign,
Sign.
Removing sign. Okay, got it.
or I guess whichever one you would like.
Town Board Resolution 49653, authorize supervisor to sign contract with extended with Parkline Asphalt Maintenance for application of crack seal.
Wait for
Sunday, I guess you should remove
catch up.
execute since
Put it back to
everything
sign,
else
yes.
is sign.
Because that's what you're doing, you're signing it.
Yeah.
That's what.
Someone else is going to execute it for you.
Do you want me to repeat mine?
What's that?
I just did one. Do you want me to repeat it?
We're good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Town Board Resolution ID number 49665 to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with H2M Architects and Engineers for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point PIMP project. And I just want to make sure you know that there's a correction in the date. It's 2021, not 2001.
Yes.
Thank you. This is yours.
Sorry. Town Board Resolution 49560, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McLean and Supervisor Moore, authorize town to participate in the Environmental Factor Corporation Clean Vessel Assisted Program Operation and Maintenance Project to support the Bay Constable's Pump Out Boat Program for 2025. We do this each year. Thank you.
Good for the pump.
Town Board Resolution ID 49561, award and authorize supervisor to sign a contract for 4 2023 or newer Ford Maverick XL Super Crew with Riley Ford, Inc. Town Board Resolution ID 49535, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Questmark Information Management, Inc. for printing and mailing of Hampton Bays Water District bills rebid.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49616 to declare items surplus and authorize the disposal of vehicles and equipment. Town Board Resolution ID number 49646. to increase, co-sponsored by the entire board, to increase certain department heads' authorization to execute program support service agreements under $3,000. Town Board Resolution ID number 49598 to recall and amend Resolution number 2025-369, authorizing the supervisor to execute a no-cost extension of term of contract for the Riverside Sewer District Professional Service Agreement with Leonard Marchese, MBA, CPA. Town Board Resolution ID number 49668, co-sponsored by the entire board, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2024-1059, to authorize purchases from WB Mason using Suffolk County contract and Eastern Suffolk BOCES contract. Town Board Resolution ID number 49656, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 2024-445, to authorize the supervisor to execute an extended agreement with L.K. McLean Associates Engineering and Surveying, DPC, as it relates to professional services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point project. So many recall and amend. Town Board Resolution ID number 49595, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 2025-498, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract extension with M1 Security Solutions for requirements contract for security camera network infrastructure installation and maintenance.
It's always the long titles that get recalled and amended.
I know.
Town Board Resolution 49596, notice 2025 notice to bidders for 30 Club Lane Maintenance Garage. Town Board Resolution 49617, 2025 notice to bidders for North Sea Shore Road Line stabilizers.
Sunday, could you add me to that? It's been going on for a while.
Yes.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49500, which is the 2025 notice to bidders for the Town Hall masonry restoration.
Yes. Could you add me to that, please?
Town Board Resolution ID number 49670, to amend the 2025 budget for various departments. Town Board Resolution ID number 49597, to amend the 2025-2029 capital budget and add capital project Ed Warner Park improvements.
The Ed
I
Warner
don't-
Senior Park.
It's Ed Warner Senior. I don't remember talking about this. What is this? I mean, do you know, are you aware?
No.
Okay. Let's find out.
This was, I think Kristen mentioned this when she came in for capital projects.
Some work down there.
Yeah, it's just rebuilding the floating dock, removing and installing new piles, and providing an aluminum gangway for access.
The one with the mason bed.
And they have money in the old Ponquag Bridge Trust to cover the cost of the project.
Okay.
It is senior.
Seen better days?
Oh, yeah,
Ed
it
Warner
needs it
Senior.
bad, yeah.
Yes.
But it should say Project Ed Warner Senior Park.
Town Board Resolution, yeah?
What'd she say?
Shouldn't it be the Ed Warner Senior Park instead of Ed Warner Park,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then just fix it in the title and in the second whereas clause.
The senior part.
Add the word senior and in the resolved. So just everywhere.
I was in the Parks Department when we dedicated that park.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49601, to authorize the general fund pay-as-you-go to purchase a Caterpillar BP 118C broom for waste management.
Could you add me onto that too, please?
And I'm sorry, Sunday, could you add me to the Ed Warner Senior Park upgrades?
Got it.
Thank you.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49527, to deposit monies for professional services in connection with the Bridge Golf Course 2025 groundwater monitoring review. Town Board Resolution ID number 49642, Southampton Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program. Town Board Resolution ID number 49643, the West Hampton War Memorial Ambulance Association, Inc. Service Award Program. Town Board Resolution ID number 49599, to authorize the town attorney to retain outside counsel John Flannery Esquire of the Wilson, Elsner, Moskowitz, Edelman, and Dicker LLP to represent the interests of the highway superintendent as it relates to Spinney Road. Do you think it should be the highway department,
Yes.
Jim?
Sure. Sandy, could you add me to that too, please?
Or, I don't know,
I'm sorry.
highway department and its superintendent?
name on that,
I
too?
don't know. What do you think,
Please.
Jim?
Yeah, you say highway department, that's fine.
You're gonna have to change the resolve as well, though, because, aren't you, because it says on behalf of the superintendent of highways.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But, he leads the department, so do you have to change that too? Since he is superintendent of the department? It's all sort of all encompassing, right? Technically, Jim?
Yeah, I mean,
He's in charge of that.
Yeah, maybe we just put
highway
department.
department's fine.
Okay, so what are we changing, please?
So put the title as highway department, but I think we
So
can,
He's to represent the interests of the highway department, not the highway superintendent.
yeah.
Okay, what about the internal resolves?
On behalf of the highway department
Highway department, same.
in
On
connection with,
behalf of the highway department.
Yeah.
And take Charlie's name out of it.
yes.
Less personal
With
that
the-
way.
With the road.
I mean,
On behalf of the highway department.
how was the order to show cause titled? Did it reference the Charlie personally or just the highway
It's the
department?
town.
I don't recall exactly what the caption says. Does it say the town?
I think it says the town of Southampton.
In addition to the highway department, I'm not sure if it named the highway department.
It just said the town of Southampton.
Just town of Southampton.
I mean, like when we do it as the town of Southampton, not as this, all of us individually, so.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
the department
I
as
think the
well.
highway department is adequate, sufficient.
Okay,
Want to say town highway department or something?
yeah.
Okay.
Town Board Resolution ID 49394, resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, amending and adding parking prohibited in designated locations regulations on a portion of County Road 80, Montauk Highway, East Quogue. This is the public hearing the same night, and it's on for adoption because it's simply removing a redundant clause in the code. It's not really changing anything. Town Board Resolution ID 49615, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell. Resolution to adopt amendments to Chapter 111 and 312 in connection with parking by permit-only regulations at beaches, parks, and waterways.
Good stuff.
So this is Town Board Resolution 49654, and I don't know why I'm lead sponsor on it. I'd like to be taken off as lead sponsor, please.
Would you like to be taken off altogether? Or you just want to?
Just don't want my name as lead
Want
sponsor.
to change the order?
No, I just don't want to be lead. Yeah, you can take my name off of it.
Okay,
Don't know why I appeared.
I don't either.
Sometimes
Give
that
me a Rick.
happens.
I
Yeah,
don't
Rick?
care.
Okay.
So Town Board Resolution ID 49654, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize changing the zoning classifications of 3 adjacent parcels with existing commercial businesses, 2000 County Road 39, 2036 County Road 39, and 161 Hill Station Road, from residential R40 to highway business HB in the hamlet of Shinnecock Hills.
So Jim, since I have to recuse myself since my daughter works for one of the property owners, do I need to leave the room when this comes up, or can I just say I'm recusing from the vote?
just say you're accused from a vote. If
By the
you're
time
going
I
through
get out of the
agenda
room,
like
you'll be
that,
done
it's no
reading
real
it.
sense for you to leave the room. I think.
Okay, all right.
Town Board Resolution ID 49592, co-sponsor by Supervisor Moore. Accept donation to the Police Department. This was a donation of $26,464 from the Hampton Health Society to the Police Department, which was going to be used for equipment. Oh, sorry. Town Board Resolution ID 49545, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of a cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Elementary School Robert J. Long 5K Run Walk on May 17th, 2025, from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m.
If I could be added to that, please.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49602 to authorize payment of $3,000 to the former employee Brian Rondi as a trial witness, People of the State of New York versus L Square, to include court appearance, testimony, preparation, travel, lodging, airfare, food, drink as a flat rate with any and all incidentals included.
Town Board Resolution 49674, resolution, oh, sorry,
Skip.
sorry about that.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49566, co-sponsored by the entire board. The historic landmark designation of the site recognized as the Rayner Fish House located at 4 Beaver Dam Road, West Hampton.
Town Board Resolution 49674, resolution accepting the final report of the Traffic Mitigation and Safety Task Force.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49606, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, is a resolution accepting a performance bond in connection with the subdivision map known as the Old Stables at Spionk. Town Board Resolution ID number 49529, which is the 2025 part-time salaries.
Town Board Resolution 49669, Amendment 2025 adopted budget and transfer position, and it's co-sponsored with Councilwoman McMahon, Isola, and Martell. Where are you on this?
I'll vote on Tuesday.
Okay.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49580 to appoint Brittany Benton to Maintenance Mechanic 2 in Municipal Works. Town Board Resolution ID number 49543 to appoint Daniel Froelich to Harbor Master 1 position in the Southampton Town Police Department. Town Board Resolution ID number 49542 to appoint George Valentino to Senior Waste Treatment Plant Operator Type 1B position from the Civil Service list. Town Board Resolution ID number 49051 to appoint Jesse James to Senior Electrical Inspector in the Building Department. I'm ready for that. Town Board Resolution ID number 49578 to rescind the Resolution 2025-179 to appointment of a Public Safety Dispatcher 1. And Town Board Resolution ID number 49579 to appoint Sarah Brown to Public Safety Dispatcher 1 in the Police Department.
Town Board Resolution 49546, notice of hearing amending Chapter 298, establishing Article, oh my God, what is that? XV, IV,
19.
that's 19? Okay, thank you. Section 29859, eligibility for a tax exemption on real property for enrolled members of Ocean Rescue Squads.
And we have Lisa Goria, our tax assessor, coming in today to talk to us about that.
Sunday, could you add me to that, please?
Me too, please.
Round it out.
And, yes, could you also add me to the Daniel Frolic, Constable? I was just asking you why you wasn't listening, not how you're gonna vote.
Town Board Resolution ID 49612, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore. Notice of hearing to accept an agricultural easement in connection with the subdivision known as Kamis, how do you pronounce this? Kamisukuto? Cutico? Okay.
I'm a cuticle.
LLC Hamlet of Watermill. Walked in at just the right time.
Okay, and then we have some 3 add-ons. Town Board Resolution ID number 496 4644, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract amendment with First Coastal Corp. As it relates to the North Sea Beach Colony Beach Erosion Coastal Control District Nourishment Project pursuant to Town Law Section 202-B. Town Board Resolution ID number 49676, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract amendment with Historical Concepts for professional, conceptual design, and visioning services for the comprehensive implementation of the Riverside Overlay District zoning.
Can I be added to that, Madam Clerk?
It's just, they need to provide some additional information as requested by the grant Environmental Facilities Corp., so it wasn't in their original contract. And then the last is Town Board Resolution ID number 49677, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Corey Humphrey to provide part-time coordinator services for the Peconic Estuary Program. All right. So that brings us to our first topic of discussion, which is the Affirmative Action Task Force Annual Report.
Do we know if, is Minerva coming?
No one has reached out to me.
Okay.
So I think you should discuss it.
Okay, sure.
Oh,
Could you,
Welcome
do-
back,
could you
Rob.
hand those down on this side, please?
That's okay.
It's okay. I'm just gonna quickly stamp them for you. I should pass you out a copy stamp for your signature. Don't be so-
the whole,
We had a whole group. Yeah. I mean, do you think it's worthwhile rescheduling? It took a lot to get on. So
Yeah.
I think we should just
Yeah.
proceed.
Yeah, there was a lot of,
I
Yeah.
think we should just.
yeah.
We can.
did you want to just reach out to Minerva really quick, see if she's, oh, you don't have her, okay. All right, is Juan here,
I
or?
can text her if you want.
She's not gonna make it here with traffic.
Yeah, I don't know if she's on. if she's on
Mention
her way,
it
maybe
was
just-
okay.
Ah.
She did say okay.
Oh, okay.
So-
she's on her way, maybe just a few minutes late.
I feel like it wasn't even a year ago that they came.
It doesn't feel like, I saw it on the agenda and I was like, it doesn't seem like that long.
It was.
It was last April?
No, I think we had a meeting, I think what you're thinking of is, we had a different meeting. I think it was the Anti-Bias Task Force came in?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
But Minerva's
It has
not
some
on
of, yeah,
that.
but it has some of the name.
Minerva was
Maybe it was
definitely
for
here.
something else.
I think it was, I think you're thinking, it wasn't that long ago, but it
Doesn't
just
feel
doesn't
like
feel
a
like
year
it.
ago.
Anyway,
Moves
so
fast, yeah.
Eliza Joe Morgan from our Human Resources Department and Claire Shea from our Planning Department.
But, and as the union president, I'm the representative for the union
Oh,
members
of
on
course.
on the committee, yes, on the task force.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just wanted to present our annual report and that I gave to all of you. So we'll go back and forth reading the report. So number one, as we all know too well, the town is facing many challenges in recruiting, whether from civil service list or not. As a positive aspect, there have been more opportunities to promote from within and to hire provisional employees, given that lists are being broken easily. Our efforts intend to increase the candidate pool for the town of Southampton in whatever ways possible, mainly by connecting with our community through various measures.
Please look at the last page to review the 2023 EEO4 data summary. The EEO4 reports are mandatory biennial data collection that requires all state and local governments with more than 100 employees to submit demographic workforce data, including by race, ethnicity, sex, job category, and salary band. This data is voluntarily shared by employees and sometimes is not offered. We'd like to mention that our mission does not center on meeting specific quotas, but on improving recruitment, retention, and promotion processes in the town of Southampton, and how to best achieve a true representation of our town's diversity and skills.
And that's on page 3 if you guys want to take a look. So number 3, on November 13th, 2024, we held an informative civil service seminar for high school counselors from high schools within the township, in addition to Riverhead, Eastport, South Manor, and Center Ridges. 2 personnel analysts from the Department of Civil Service provided useful information to the counselors so that they could then forward that information to their students, such as how to navigate the civil service website, how to sign up and prepare for exams, the difference between competitive and non-competitive titles, etc.
And I would just say that, Eliza, you did a great work organizing that. And there were a lot of people that showed up, right?
We had a really nice.
Do you know I think we had an approximate number, right? There was.
I think around 13 people, 13 counselors, and all showed up. Yeah.
That's very good. And I think we should definitely continue those efforts in just letting people know the civil service process, because some people don't really understand how to go about that. And that was a very educational program. So thank you for doing that.
We having something next week even on civil service.
Yeah, that's on progressive discipline, and that's more for the department heads and how to handle it.
This was more community based.
Yeah, trying to get the older high school students interested in civil service as well.
Very good.
Great. We will continue to hold civil service overview classes for constituents. Department of Civil Service provides the trainer at no cost to us. These are 1-hour classes that provide basic information about how civil service functions generally, how to navigate the website, how to sign up for exams. These classes rotate around town facilities. We are looking to schedule the next one in May or June.
Welcome, Minerva. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We're here.
We were on time
Okay.
for once. I'm
We're
sorry.
number 5. All right, we're number 5.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
They're
again
just reading.
for your time and being here, and it's great to work with these two women. So number 5 is we hosted a civil service examination preparation course on February 24th, and that was free and open to all town of Southampton constituents and employees. And this class was provided information on the civil service exam, tips to study and prepare for the exam, tips on how to eliminate wrong answers, and provide sample sections of the exam for students to practice their skills. And we had 10 constituents and 7 town employees participate in this event, which actually was a really nice turnout. Yeah. And we plan to host other exam preparation courses at other locations throughout the town of Southampton throughout the year.
I think that's so important because a lot of people don't even understand, how to get on a list and.
Or how to be promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the internal and then the external for the town. And in the past, we'd done them once, I think, in the Flanders area at that center. And then we'd also done one in Bridgehampton. And we had also done one at Shinnecock. So we just want to make sure that we were getting the word out and also having one right here in Town Hall.
Mm-hmm.
6. In conjunction with Human Resources, I have been attending job fairs on behalf of the Affirmative Action Task Force. The job fairs occur approximately once a month and are held at local schools and libraries for recruitment purposes. I provide job applications, civil service information, and training program information to the attendees. I encourage participants to visit the town website to view all the open positions, and we're going to show you our human resources part of the website. We actually made an update that involves more civil service information.
Did you need the computer?
We do. I believe Kevin and Andrew are going to come out and help us at the end of this. Yeah. And help students find jobs that involve their areas of interest. Human Resources has also hosted several virtual job fairs where applicants can visit a digital job booth and chat with HR staff to ask questions and apply for town jobs.
So there's a place on the town website that shows all the open positions.
Yes. And then we also, in the same area, we provide something called a link to the Libby app. And the Libby app is for people that have a library card. You can access civil service exam prep material for free. So it's just another way for us to get constituents to see it right there on the main screen when they are looking for jobs. To kind of help them clear that path,
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge benefit. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
We are currently working on a series of videos directed and produced by the members of the Affirmative Action Task Force, along with the assistance of CTV. The purpose of these videos is to interview town employees from different departments and job titles to promote employment within the town specifically and public service generally. Within each video, staffers are asked several personal questions that explore their backgrounds and highlight the career path they took to achieve success. I hope that these videos will resonate with people from the public who can relate to our interviewees and may feel more comfortable and confident to apply for a town job.
I love this because it shows that we're also educating constituents about who works in the town. And I think that that's something that perhaps we might have been missing previously. and also highlighting all the different walks of life that that work here. And I think it's wonderful. And I know we're going to have a sample for everybody to take a look at. And Minerva, thank you very much for pushing this on your end for us to make sure we're doing this. And Eliza, thank you for also keeping up on this too.
You're welcome. Yeah, and Kevin and the whole team.
Yes,
For jumping
yes.
in. I mean, this was an idea that was percolating a good 6 years ago. And I think, and originally it was just kind of like the kind of like fun, quick camera, cell phone selfie, talk about your job, have Juan out there and like tracking people down in their places of employment. And but then what it really evolved into was a much more professional look because of the team that you have here. So I think the way it looks right now is great. I think it's kind of evolving. You'll see, we have some longer ones, and we're looking at ways of cutting them down a bit so that they can be sort of feasible for different ways, different types of consumption of the information. But really kind of a fun way of kind of sharing who's working at the town, and because we're pushing this thing with civil service, we really want everyone to get excited about it. But when you start hearing some of the personal stories, and they're all extremely positive about how they came to be in this profession and what led them here. They're exactly your neighbors, your friends, your relatives, and then you kind of feel connected a bit more to what this job actually can be. And so I'm really excited that the project has come this far. I think we've got like 4 videos right now, 4 or 5, but you'll see it one that's completely done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'll also just say she's not with us anymore, but Trisha Martinez was a big part of this and doing a lot of the interviews and setting all that up. So I just want to give a shout out to Trisha.
I can't wait to
and I
see
think
them.
she might still be on the committee, but
She might, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trained. I know
so.
she just started a new job, so I'm asking her to see if her new employer will let her take some time for our meetings. It's only once a month, but we get a lot done.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
When do you think we're gonna see the videos? Did you say?
We're going to show you a little bit of one right now, Juan Becerra, because it's a great one to start with. And then after that, I think we have 4 other ones. So we're just doing the final kind of cuts and edits on those. And then the idea is that they'll be up in a few places. It could be that there's links to them that are on the website or Facebook, that maybe they'll be playing on Sun TV, that we can share them in places where you can just be like, oh, okay, oh, I know that person works for that. Oh, that's the tax receiver. Oh, look at that. So that kind of human kind of face and story, and it's really done nicely with the music and
Anything to demystify like the difficulty of getting a job here in the town. Like it's possible and it's doable. So we just want to get that message out.
I think too, sometimes the civil service titles are a barrier to some people that I could never do that. And they don't realize that it's an actual very doable job that's simple, and it could have a much simpler title, but civil service doesn't give it that title.
Right,
So
absolutely.
Sure.
Unless your parents or a family member,
Yeah.
you don't know anything about that world.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to break all that up a bit. So the people on the task force are the ones, doing the extra work to also keep getting things out to other circles and sort of expand where the notices go in terms of the jobs that are open. And that way, if they have questions and they feel comfortable reaching out and say, hey, what's this all about? We get them the information and they can schedule a meeting with Juan if they wanted to, or with Eliza Joe. So it's good. It's good. I'll do the last one.
Yeah, you do the last one.
Okay. So we hosted a DEI training April 23rd, 2024, provided by the National Coalition Building Institute, NCBI, that included all department and division heads for the town of Southampton, as well as elected officials. The training, this is the 3rd one we've done now?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, last one was 2019 before that, I think.
Yeah, and we took a break with COVID.
Yes.
And this is the one we brought it back,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
It's an organization that we've really enjoyed working with, and they're really great. And we took a long time to kind of decide that this is the way we were going to spend a little bit of the money that we have, a little bit of the budget that we get, because we really liked their approach, and we really loved the response from the department heads and deputies, the first one we did, because that was kind of the indicator. If we rolled this out and they were like, none of this is really resonating or landing, then we would have had to take a step back, but they loved it.
Yeah.
And
you had a lot of staff and personnel there last year. It was,
we did, we did.
And it was fun. It was very engaging.
Yeah, it was great. And they're really they really have a good tone to them. So we share a lot about what we're working on, so that they're not coming in some sort of cookie cutter way and saying, this is what we have to do. We're really talking about sort of how people can feel connected, included, in sort of the inclusion that turns into kind of long-term employment, and not the kind of revolving situation where, we can't solve the commuting problem, but, are there other ways to make sure that the job that you're coming into, you can really love in a lot of other ways, even if you hate the commute. So we really get to address some things that matter, and this organization helps us to do that. So the training was developed by Affirmative Action Task Force in conjunction with Human Resources and with the expertise of NCBI. Some of the topics that were covered during the all-day training event included assessing our own internal biases, reviewing and further assessing equity and inclusion issues and practices in our workplace, learning about how unchallenged biases can negatively impact the performance of our employees, exploring our organizational structure and how it either encourages or discourages diverse viewpoints in decision-making, learning new skills to apply to our departments and divisions to ensure all voices are heard and all employees are developed and encouraged to grow professionally, achieve and advance within the town, and begin to develop an equity and inclusion strategic plan for the town. The trainees were able to actively participate in group discussions and activities, as well as volunteer their personal insights and experiences to enrich the discussion. We plan to host another similar event this November with NCBI as well. And I just want to share that all of it's meaningful, but there was one thing that we did that I really loved. I think we brought it back again, where they have, what do they call them, cohorts or something, or no, caucus groups.
Caucus groups.
Yeah. And so people can kind of elect to be in different groups that they create. And I think the last time there was like a men's group, like they just threw up some possible titles, people, and those very obvious titles of caucus groups weren't even accepted. People kind of created their own, and it was like one was like the older workers caucus group, one was the dads caucus group, one was we had and they created, it was like a good, and you could only be in one.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were in that group, you would talk and together and kind of decide what's one thing that you wanted no one to ever kind of think or say about your group again, ideally.
Mm-hmm.
What's one contribution that you really want to make sure everyone knows about your caucus group, and how could people sort of support and kind of be there for your caucus group. And then they got up and they all had to talk, they all had to kind of present, and these were folks that you knew they didn't do a whole lot of that. I mean, we did a lot of work with, in one of them with the highway and Parks and Rec, and those guys were up there, and it was, it like literally brought tears to my eyes. I mean, it was a real connection, and it was another way of kind of showing how voices can be encouraged and the diversity of voices, what that actually looks like. It's not a cookie cutter idea of what diversity is. It's like diversity of thought. And these folks kind of showed that. And it was really kind of exciting. The NCBI helped to create that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just our last page, just for you to look at. So every 2 years we have to do an EEO4 report, where we take all of the employees for the town of Southampton. And when you are a new hire, we ask you, there's a voluntary form to fill out an affirmative action form stating your race, what you identify with, and how you came to the town. So basically I pull all that information and I submit it to the state every 2 years. So this is just our last 2 reports, just so you could see our numbers and like where we're standing at right now when it comes to the different racial makeup of the town employees.
Well, actually, you just said the town too, so wouldn't that be relevant to know how we're comparing to the general population?
It would be very helpful if I could have that set of data to compare. Yes, absolutely.
But right now, I think you'd be comparing it to like the 2020 census, which...
So basically, we're comparing our own data to our past data to see if we've improved with our numbers. That's kind of all as far as we've gone with it, to my knowledge.
No, absolutely. Yeah. But the data, I think, would be great. I mean, but the census is
outdated at this point.
It's outdated. It's kind of general, and some of the basics that we know. I mean, we'd have to get some better numbers, but I mean, I think we at least have something. I mean, it's low. It's a little bit low.
I mean, like that there's obviously more Hispanic people here than are on the census.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
absolutely, yeah. And with African American, that number's low here as well in terms of the percentages. So, but I think getting that would be good. It'd still be good to have that and kind of compare that and have it here as well. But again, the work that we do at the task force, is certainly less about quotas, but certainly about trends. Trends in what we see in terms of the hiring, who's coming in, who's going out, why they might be going out,
who's staying and how long,
who's staying, who's being promoted, and how the word is getting out. Because oftentimes, if you're tracking that, I've been doing this now as a volunteer chair for, I think it might be close to 15 years. I was just thinking about that today. I love it, and I love to get to work with these folks and getting to network with Michael. But I think it's just been interesting over the years to kind of track how the word gets out, and the different things we can do to kind of expand that, because I learned a lot about civil service, and to know that there are limitations, and we've got it. You can't just say, oh, we don't want those to exist. They exist. And so if people have to be on a list and take a test and all that, we want to learn all of kind of the perspective around that. How do we demystify it? How do we get the test prep out there? How do we make people accessible, like Eliza Joe and Juan, to be able to talk with folks?
It's just a shame we can't change this. I mean, as a mom who opted my kids out of standardized testing, I know that not everybody is a good test taker, and we see it with our own employees, right? They're provisional, they're great employees, we want to keep them, and then they test poorly just because, not because they don't do their job well or they don't understand their job, but because they're just not good test takers. Some people freeze up, it's just a fact of life. So it's kind of maybe trying to change the mindset of civil service and how we go about retaining our provisional employees. I feel like, good reports from your higher ups on you're doing the job, you're an asset to the town. That should take precedence over what your test score is, especially when sometimes you've been serving in that role for 1-2 years. And we just ran into that with one of our employees who'd been provisional for 3 years. And, it's hard to tell somebody, I'm sorry, the tests take precedence over the great work you've been doing for the town and the commute you've been going through for 3 years. We have to go to the test scores.
Does that test actually reflect the job too? It's some
Oh,
of
it's
these
so
tests.
outdated.
Yeah.
Take
I
one
can tell you
test.
the planner test is outdated.
Yeah.
Right, you take one test and that qualifies you for 5 lists.
Yeah.
And really have very little to do with the job, other than the fact that
I mean-
it shows that you can read them right.
Eliza, we could just call him in.
Okay.
Kevin, can you come out and help us?
I didn't know you had I
We have a direct line.
I understand the basis
Hello, Kevin.
behind
Thank you
them
for
trying to make a
everything, by
level
the way.
playing field, but to me, a test is not the level playing field. It's just not.
Right,
Yeah.
right, there's
Yeah.
their own barriers.
It should
Civil
be,
service
at least, if you want to have a test, it should be part of a whole
decision-making.
portfolio, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I fought for as a mom. Like, you can't just use the test scores. You have to look at their day-to-day work and how they're, relating to their peers, and it all plays a part in, your contribution. So it just, to me, that
We've had some conversations with civil service in this county level, but not, I think, on a few different topics. Like, we can look that up and see. But that's been part of our conversation, is what can we do from this perspective?
happy to lend my voice to that in any way possible. I mean, it's just something that really needs to change.
The test locations, do they have, can you take it locally? Is there area?
Riverhead is the place.
Yeah, see, and that's good. For somebody living in East Hampton.
Yeah, definitely.
That's tough, yeah.
So I think we've got it queued up, Eliza.
Yes,
or
so I was just showing you, this was the town website, and this is our human resource section. This is the Libby app that I was talking about earlier. So if you have a library card, this is free for you to use. So if there's materials that you could use to study for your civil service exam and they're not available at the library itself, you can download them on this app and access it all for free. So if you went to the town website and you went to human resources, you would see job listings, and that was the first one. So now we have apply for a job.
Well,
Now under-
let's see what the listings are.
You want to see? Sure.
May as well promote them while we're here.
Might as well.
This is town engineer,
Oh, let's look on this side and see.
civil engineer, look at that.
Just tell me if I'm going too fast for you.
Oh, looks good.
Yeah, so these are all summer positions here. We definitely need people to work beaches. We're always short-staffed there.
How do you advertise this?
So we advertising the website or advertising the
No, like
jobs?
Jobs.
jobs, because we've been looking for some people for a long time.
So we do. So I do. Me and there's a woman in my office, Wendy Zuckerman. We do job fairs. We do those at least once a month, and what we do is we bring flyers that have QR codes, and it's very easy. The students or whoever, they walk up, they scan it with their cell phone. It takes them right here. They can see all of the open jobs. We also provide information on civil service, things like that. We have it hanging up outside of human resources. We've advertised in the local newspapers. We've advertised on LinkedIn. We've pretty much been trying anything and everything at this point.
And you're also posting on social media every
Social
time.
media,
these
yep,
openings-
yep. We also send things to they'll put it on the town website as well. I blast things throughout the Affirmative Action Task Force. So people that are members of the community, they then share it on their own personal Facebook pages. So a lot of word of
and there's
mouth
also-
posting.
One of my friends saw the job on that.
On Ola's Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And there's also
My
direct,
husband called me up about it.
Okay, good.
there's also direct communication that's also to the schools, right? Is that true? Is that correct?
Yeah, so we've been in communications with like Mr. Tom Little from Southampton High School, with different people, just going back and forth trying to make sure that we keep an open line of communication. So that way, if any kids are like from the schools are interested in jobs with the town, we can help them out in any way. We encourage them to start, hey, if you want looking for part-time seasonal work, join the town. It could end up full-time, So that's another thing we do. We have like Broader Horizons programs. So a lot of those teenagers, we encourage them as well that when they're able and ready to get jobs within the town too. So this is just.
When you go to like a job which is is a full-time job,
You want me to click on one?
you just,
The civil engineer.
So, just trying to see, oops, you're going
Sorry,
too
there it
fast.
is.
So that's a civil service list position, right? So how often do we ask for the lists? And if there is no list, do we follow up and ask for a test to be given? I mean, what's the process for that?
So I actually don't call for lists. That would be Candy Hatches in my office. She handles that. But I do know that at least once a month we get a list of announcements showing all of the new job postings, all the new open positions, and we're sent that, and then we can send that out as well.
Would if you go back to the beginning of the town engineer, before you click on it,
Oh, okay, sure.
would it be helpful to put with full benefits? Because that might catch people's eyes, because people are always looking for jobs with full benefits.
I mean, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
And same thing with like anything which,
Yeah.
heavy equipment
Yeah.
with full benefits, because you might be a heavy equipment person who works for a private person making good money, but he has crappy insurance, and he might say, hey, I could do this.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Bill.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Or even
Yep.
just under the header that says full-time, full benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, to draw their attention.
Because one of my friends left one place to went to another place just for the insurance drive.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's
Not easy to come
understandable.
by.
Benefits including health.
Do you want me to go to the video?
Any other questions about the way the posts come out and maybe even, that's.
This is really this is
Other
really what I
ideas?
wanted to show you was the Libby app here.
And Eliza, you worked on that this year?
On which part?
This is brand new.
Yeah, this is all. So we just did this in the last 2 months with the help of the CRC and with Wendy Zuckerman from my office. Yeah.
So Libby, does anyone here have Libby on their phones? Yeah, me too. And so, but like you don't realize that they've got these test prep, and they're so expensive. These things to buy, you're going to use it maybe once, and then you get to have it for free, and then either on a Kindle or just on your phone. And you can get it from there. So it's
We
really
also
good.
have some copies of exam prep booklets for different titles. However, we only have a limited number of them. So if someone's borrowing one and someone else is trying to take the test, this is what we usually advise them to do is use the Libby app because they have most of the materials. So
So
then,
now we're going to show the video, right?
yeah, I'm going to show you
Yeah.
Juan's video. It's 6 minutes. You can let me know if you want to see the whole thing or if you want to, pause it.
And how do people know about promotional opportunities that are already working here?
So Candy in our office would send out, she sends out a mass email that has the job listing, the date of it, and then she also puts in bold letters with an asterisk, please make sure to post in your department for all employees to see. We also post it outside of Human Resources. So if for whatever reason someone missed the announcement, they could always stop by Human Resources. We have a huge wall that shows every single job opening. And then Wendy's there. So if you have a question, you can go right in and ask someone, hey, I have a question on this job. What do I have to do to apply? So we kind of try to make it as easy as possible that way. Like right in your face when you walk into HR.
Mm-hmm.
Before you start the video, so just to clarify that these are not up yet.
They're not fully final. Yeah.
Right. This is a work in progress, but this is what
All we need is the closed captions. I believe
Yeah.
that's
There are a
the.
couple of things that we're working on.
Yeah.
I just want to emphasize that this is what we've been working on, and we hope to expand on in the upcoming year.
And right now, just an even name, we've got Juan Becerra, we've got Lisa Gori, we've got Tatiana Tucci, and there's a fourth one.
Well, you did film me, but we'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then maybe one other one, but we really wanted to get a bunch kind of in the hopper and then kind of have a strategy on how they go out when they get released and how they get sort of rotated in and stuff like that. And then shorter versions, because this one is a little bit over 6 minutes, but it's great. And you look at it, you're like, I don't want to cut anything, but like ways of having little clips of things so people can feel like they've seen a good 2 minutes of something. And if they want to see the rest, they can click the other button. But for right now, this is kind of the full thing. Okay.
So where would people find this?
This would be probably a link to this would be probably on the website. It's like meet the people from the town, or meet, you could click on that and say, oh, you see a thumbnail image maybe of Juan Becerra, Director of Human Resources. Oh, I want to click on that.
And they're all civil service people?
These are all people working in the town.
No,
Oh,
they're not
yeah.
all civil service.
Not all
Yes.
civil service, but working in the town.
Civil service.
Or not all
Take
of them?
tests.
All of
But
them?
not all of
Well,
them
not
have to
Juan.
be. Like,
Our goal is to eventually reach out to our laborers and get them to do videos as well.
The town is the tax assessor? Is that?
Yeah.
She's not. She's appointed.
That's a point.
yeah. So we
So
kind of
maybe
like to
that
do
she
like.
should not be in it since she's appointed.
No, we like to show everybody.
It's not just civil
Yeah.
service. Sorry if we
Yeah.
were not clear. So it's
Yeah.
not just civil
Okay.
service positions. It's
You gotta make that clearer.
okay. It's just any positions within the town. We started with people who were, department heads, just to show some, it's not impossible to get an admin position here. We're just giving a flavor of it. But no, it's not necessarily only civil servants.
Okay.
We want to get people to work for the town.
Yeah.
And that might come as a civil service test, or it might come as a provisional hire that then ends up being a test, or it might be someone that's appointed. But these are the opportunities.
And
for the
also
town.
someone who went for town board like Michael.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Just to further Rick's question too. This would also the intention here is also to put it out on social media as well. It just garners the awareness of like who's in the town, what do they do, where do So it's just about the stories of the people who are at town, and it has a multi-pronged impact, I think, for both.
So a couple things on that, though. It's very hard to find anything on our website. When you do the search, it goes to stuff that's 15 years old. And so maybe you do find it on there. 6 minutes long is, whether it's great or not, is way beyond the attention span of most people. I mean, that would obviously have to be trimmed way down for social media. And then hit one's face when it comes out on social media in a 1.5-minute clip or whatever,
Yeah.
should then be put on when job openings do come up, whether they come up, bilingual advertisements that I see on Facebook now.
Yeah.
So he could actually be like the spokesperson for different jobs that come
Absolutely.
down. But it has to really be,
Well, we're definitely going to trim it down for those purposes, like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes tops. This is just kind of showing you the whole thing. So that way, if we want to make it available, do you want to see the whole video? Maybe some people won't watch the whole video, but maybe some people are like, you know what? I might want to work for the town. This is the HR guy. I think I'm going to watch the whole thing.
Right.
So, but I think having it available, but not using the whole long thing is like, you have to see the whole thing.
we have to grab them in like the first
30
10
seconds.
seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
And
right.
also Sun TV, right?
And Sun TV as well. Sun TV, which is good because then, they've got some great programming, but there are people up at 3 a.m. that will watch the whole thing.
There are. It's true.
All right, here we go. We're gonna watch it. We can maybe watch it for a bit and then scoot down to the last part of it in like a minute.
There he is.
You tell me when you want me to.
Okay.
My name is Juan Becerra. I was born and raised in Cordoba, Argentina, and my family and I moved here in October of '99 when I was 12 years old. I graduated from Stimson Middle School and Will Whitman High School in the Southampton School District, and from Stony Brook University, double major in political science and history. As far as hobbies, I like to play tennis and watch soccer. I like reading nonfiction and fiction, and spending times outside with my family. I'm married to my wife of 9 years, and we have a little boy, a 3-year-old, who keeps us very busy. My parents still live in Huntington, and I'm still closely connected to that community as well.
I don't know
What department do you
I love one, but I don't know if I would want 6 minutes to watch.
You want to see this? What department you work in?
Department of Human Resources. I'm the Director of Human Resources. I've been there in that position since April of this year. And I am charged with the hiring of all positions for the town, as well as all promotions, and then everything related to our policies that we have in place, making sure we're compliant, such as providing training to all of our employees. And if
And
we
maybe
receive
not
any
skip
sorts of
toward the end,
complaints
the last
on our-
question. I forget what the last question was. Let's see.
When I
For
first
civil
learned
service.
about civil service, I actually didn't, even though my family came from, that sort of work back in Argentina, I didn't really know much about civil service here in, Long Island specifically. So I learned from going to the Department of Labor, and that's how I came to know about the Suffolk County Department of Civil Service. So I would encourage people to learn more about the county's civil service agency. You can go on their website, and I'm more than happy to help anyone if they ever want to come talk to me. Or
Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, what was that question?
Moving from America to
when we
Argentina.
first moved here, I didn't speak any English, just some basic words, and I was placed in the English as a second language program, and it was difficult in the beginning, of course, right? But with a little time and patience, I ended up, picking it up eventually. People expect them to come naturally, but everything can be learned, right? And you just have to be willing to put yourself out there.
Nicely done. So yeah, that's the fuller story. But then bringing that down to like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, we'll probably be capturing some of the answers to the questions right away, and then kind of boiling it down that way.
Get a little bit more peppier.
He looked more comfortable at his desk than he did in the chair.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little. He gets a little stiff. Like, well, let me tell you the real story. Juan, if you're watching this, wherever you are right now, is that early on when we first started talking about it, he's such a humble kind of guy that I really wanted to highlight him. I was like, you can get out there, you're HR, you get do the interviews, talk to the people, be in the interview, and he was really just dreading this. And then finally, when Trisha came on, I said, Trisha, I need someone to really give. And she just had great, young, spunky energy, and she had your support and all that. So she kind of jumped in, and then Juan was like, all right, we had support from CTV and all that. But he's not the guy that loves to be in front of a camera, or
Well, I just
Very photogenic.
I just want to say I think this is great. It's the first time the town really has taken the initiative to do something like this, utilizing the resources that we have to put this together. I think it takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of energy, and I know just the 4 videos that are in the queue has taken a year essentially to just try to, and I think a lot of that comes to the fact that we've had questions on how to approach some of these videos, and how do we make sure we have all the capabilities to do everything. But I just want to commend the group for really taking the initiative here. I think it's a really excellent opportunity to showcase what the town does. And who works at the town. So I really want to say I really appreciate your work.
Thank you for your support.
Very much.
Any other questions? I mean, I just always want to make sure that we're ending by saying that we really have enjoyed and loved the support from the board to keep doing the work that we're doing, for you to understand kind of how broad it is and how committed we all are. I mean, to just sort of really great things happening for the town, and making sure that we do everything we can to get the word out on positions and internal promotions, however we can support that from the perspective that we have, but and getting to work directly with HR, having them around the table and having Michael there. So I just want to say we appreciate that support, and the little bit of budget that we get to have for some of the training, some of the test prep work that we do is really kind of critical. So I'd love to see that continue.
Thank you guys so much for letting us come in
Thanks
today.
for doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you seen it, Minerva, and with Ola, are you seeing more of an awareness of these job opportunities out there?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time now, I've been posting them, and people will sometimes ask me directly, or they don't even say anything to me. They just go directly to the town, and then later on, 2 years later, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I got that job because of actually the person who was a couple of years ago, Gustavo, who's downstairs,
Oh, we love Gustavo.
yeah,
Right.
doing the IDs down there. He got the job through an Ola posting, and then he ended up going from there into safety, working directly with Ryan
Yeah, he's great.
Murphy. So he's still with the town, yeah.
The person who called me had no idea that I had full benefits.
Oh, okay.
That's why I
So
brought
really
that up.
highlight that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, if
My
you
husband's
click on
a
it, it's definitely
yeah.
listed, but you're right, it'd be jump out at you right on the first
Because
screen.
even if they're going from a private job, which is paying a little bit more, to a little bit lesser job, but, you know, her husband is an electrician with not too good at benefits, this, you know, it balances it out.
And that's another thing where most people might assume, because if they're familiar with, a government job, they know that it comes with benefits, but some people might not know that, like Bill saying, and so.
Or you might have to pay so much or whatever.
Yeah.
Are there other things that you want to try to accomplish, but you feel constrained by the budget or other things?
I mean, I think for me, really, it's about how do we make the most of this sort of information? Because you're all the same questions you're asking, the same things we talk about, is how do we get word out there? There are channels, but sometimes those channels they might be hitting some of the same, how do we broaden that out a little bit? I don't know. I think there's some ways that we could talk about sort of the promotion of these positions and really get to talk about things like benefits and really talk about the things that everyone kind of really wants to know about. Like another way of doing that. Sun TV, I do think the idea, people, I know from the work that we've been doing is like putting things in writing is one thing. Having someone talk, even if it's just an audio clip or even if it's just someone talking, hey, not that you're going to have that for every position. I'm not saying that, no. but just some way in to be like, what is this all about? I'm going to think about taking this test. I'm going to study for this test. I could talk to Juan, but is there anything else I can learn about the town, about this position or this department? I mean, anything that I think that kind of draws people in to really consider working at the town, I think could be beneficial. And I think to explore that is what we'd like. That's what we're doing a little bit with these videos.
Videos help people to identify with and people that they see in the video. That person looks like me, that person sounds like me, and it kind of takes away that stigma and that fear of, I can do this. He's doing it, I can do it.
We are in a digital forward era where it's not so much what's written down or anything. It is media driven.
Yeah.
And we have to start growing toward that type of way of
doing
going
shots like 20-second shots of the guy driving the truck.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that.
I'd rather
the
see
B-roll
that.
is critical.
Yeah. The guy on the payload, the guy on the road department, the guy code guy.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's the aim.
I should say.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're being fully honest, I mean, the biggest roadblock is the salaries as compared to private industry.
It is.
And I think the salaries don't necessarily compete when you look at the dollars, but I think what people don't, when you say full benefits, people don't understand the dollar value of the benefits that they get, versus the state retirement system and the health benefit. I mean, the health benefits, I came into this off of the New York State Health Exchange, which is not really health insurance, and you struggle and you can't see the doctors and you can't get kids to the doctors. It's really a difficult situation, and I think the value of the benefit package that we provide. You can say full benefits and people are like, okay, I get health insurance, but they don't understand the scope of the dental, the vision, the retirement. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle. And I think if you put a dollar number and you said full benefits package valued at, this much money, that I think has more meaning to people than, because in some cases it doubles, right, the compensation you're getting from the town on a pay scale. So,
and we're working on hopefully in the near future, working on getting the salaries up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in the meanwhile, you still have the positions that people want. People are driving from Ronkonkoma for some of these positions. So being able to get word out also from like a local context of like what makes sense to work here. When sometimes you can't compete. You've got kids saying, why am I going to work for the on the beaches when I can make so much more working in the restaurant? But some of those folks that start in the beaches, have a pension. They don't lose it.
One thing that you might want to consider with some of the funding that you get is seeing if you can apply that towards to CRC when they post some of the job postings to see if they can advertise those posts. You could boost those posts to actually target people within the community, even if it's like $5. like that can go a long way. It could reach like potentially 200 to 500 people. So that might be something to talk about with CRC at some point.
Yeah, and sometimes for certain positions, we might target certain journals, but that's maybe more if we're looking for lawyers or certain types of positions where it might be like, yeah, we're gonna look at a journal for engineers that is a little broader, but like maybe say, New York, but other people look into it. LinkedIn is also huge in terms of digital.
You might even want to put a job with full benefits. Look here. So the full benefits might catch someone's eye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And any other things that are coming to mind? I mean, Eliza, Joe, of course, and Juan, but I mean, they can also filter through the task force. Any way that we can support some of those actions is certainly what we want to do as well.
Yep, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Let's have sauce out there, to be able to recruit people even if they're bilingual, how valuable that is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of interest, so just keep doing it.
Yes.
Thank you for your work.
Thanks all of you for coming in.
Wait, Jim, can I give this to you?
Sure.
Can you make sure everyone has one?
Some of
That's what I
our
was thinking,
payloads,
too.
because that's
That's what
Like-
We're gonna have a libretto like they do in the opera.
It helps if you.
Love the opera.
All right, have a great day,
See you
everyone.
later.
Hi, Minerva.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Your video is great, by the way.
From Minerva.
All right, so our next topic, thank you, Lisa Gore, for coming in, our sole assessor, to talk about 3 different things. Homestead exemption, senior citizen exemption, and the ocean rescue tax exemption. Completely up to you as to which order you want to present them.
All right, I figured we would start the senior citizen exemption first, because I think that one would be the most logical.
Okay.
So we have about 1,400 properties that have the senior citizen exemption, and that exemption is based on income from 0 up to $58,400. So we have to send out renewals every year, about 1,400 renewals. We typically send those out as early as October. They're not due back until the following March 1st. By law, the exemption is supposed to, the renewal application is supposed to be sent out in January and then received back by March 1st. However, we send them out in October. So what we've been finding come the second week of March, all the way up to current, people are coming in saying, oh, I forgot.
But what is it? Can you tell us what is the
The
exemption?
exemption, so it's anywhere from 5 to 50% off your assessed value before the taxes are applied. So we have many seniors that could save anywhere from, $200 to $2,000, depending on what school district they're in.
Is it based just on age and,
It's based on
and
age
income?
up to 65 years of age, and it has to be a primary residence. So
Number, please, what's the baseline number, like, to qualify for the exemption?
your income can't be any more than 58,400. Yeah.
Okay, so over 65 primary residence and between 0 and 58.4.
58.4. So we have, people that are coming in, and a lot of times it's the, the children of the person that has the exemption. They're handling the paperwork for their parents. They completely forgot, or their parent put the paperwork somewhere, they couldn't find it. So, it's a huge savings for a lot of these people, and we don't have any mechanism in place where if we get a late application that we can take it in, because we get audited. And
By who audits them?
the town auditors, they choose several of our renewal applications every year, so we don't know which one they're going to choose. So if we happen to give them one that has a stamped date, receive date of April or May, yet the exemption was due by March 1st, we don't have anything in the town code stating that we accept late applications. So what I did was I reached out to a couple of other towns, and they actually accept late applications up until grievance day.
So I thought, we're not gonna make that our deadline date. It's still gonna stay March 1st, but at least it gives us some leeway to still accept the applications beyond that March 1st date.
And give
Is
a
that-
reason why, and should give a reason why you're late, because if they just know that with no reason, they're just gonna
Right.
wait. Because some people are procrastinating.
So, what I try to do, I'll tell folks, well, was your parent hospitalized? Were they in a nursing home during that period? The renewal, but anywhere between, say, the end of February through early March. And then I'll accept it. I'll take a doctor's note stating, they were unable to provide the application. I'll accept that. But anything beyond that, oh, well, they forgot.
Sometimes the parents, because it happened with
Yeah.
us, that the parents threw the stuff away or misplaced it.
Yep, they misplace it.
What's
So-
grievance day? Which day?
So grievance day this year is May 20th. So, I mean, I have a couple of, the applications that are sitting on my desk now. Someone, an elderly person, she was in Brooklyn, she was visiting and she fell, and then she ended up having to stay with relatives because she needed to have surgery on her wrist, so she wasn't able to make it back home. So just, things like that, you don't want to.
Are these strictly renewals or?
These are just renewals. The new ones coming in, that's a different story. You have to have it in by the deadline
That
date.
makes sense.
But for someone who's renewing, who's had the exemption for years and years and
Nothing's
years,
changed.
right, nothing's changed. Their income really hasn't changed. And for them to lose out on, potentially $2,000, that's a lot.
But the new ones you can't because
The
there's
new
a lot of
ones,
processing of
right,
information.
Right, the new ones have to be March
On
1st.
average, what time do they all come in, March 1st, or do you have them come in staggeringly?
Well, we send the renewals out in October, so they come in anytime through that period. And then towards the end of, mid-February through the end of February, I go over to the senior citizen in Hampton Bays.
Yeah.
To the lunch over there, and I sit for a couple hours just to give people, so they don't have to, come all the way into town hall, especially since we had the, the stuff going on outside with the sewer
It's
system.
nice. Would it be wisdom to, if you could track, since they're all renewals, you can track the ones you come, then if at the end of February, you don't get, or
We
somewhere.
send out several notices.
Oh, you do? Okay.
We send out 2 and 3 reminder notices.
wow.
Look, wait, yeah, we haven't gotten
Out
it yet.
email or hard copy mail?
Well, we send out just mail.
Just mail.
Just
Because a lot of
mail,
older
yeah.
people don't use email.
So not only do you send the initial notice in October, but then,
We send a notice out in the end of November, then we send one out again in January. So we send them out, at least every 2 months, so they know.
Lisa, what about to a secondary to, if it is an elderly person, maybe to their children
Some
or
people do
another
have a
contact?
second mailing address that will also get the notice.
So they'll
but,
both get
yeah,
it.
mhm. Yeah. So, I just figured it may be a good idea if the town board wanted to.
This just allows you to administratively make the decision as to whether or not you're going to accept it late.
Yeah, I think that's a good
I'm fine
idea.
with that.
I'm fine with it too because I've received, last year we've received
Yeah,
a couple of
last
year.
questions about that.
Yeah,
I don't know, do we need a public hearing on this?
You need a public hearing for it?
I don't know.
No, I don't.
Where is it written about the timing and everything? Is that in our code?
It's in the code, yeah, 298.
Mm-hmm.
This much.
But maybe it's just a policy decision, although the auditors, you need to protect yourself, to say, well, I'm allowed to take a late one.
So we have to find out if you
Find
need
that
a
out.
public hearing or
Change
not.
the town code we made.
If it needs a public hearing, I would be fine, based on this discussion, walking one on Tuesday, just to notice public hearing.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think we're all
Long
good
as it's all
about it.
written.
You feel
Or even the
comfortable, Rick?
resolution.
Give it a
if-
retroactive ability if you want.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to make it,
Right.
effective
Capture
this
it for
year.
this year.
Yeah.
Because I do have a couple of them on my desk.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no harm, right?
Yeah.
And these are renewals, these are people, long-time renewals.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fine
Nothing's
policy.
changed, yeah.
I think it's good. So if we do it, it'll be effective immediately, even the ones,
Yeah, you could.
you have to just make sure that's stated.
We can
Go to the
check that out
resolution.
to see if you concern, and I understand Lisa's coming up, because this is the time for it, right? So, we possibly, if we need to do a public hearing, and it's gonna take more time, we can make it retroactive too.
Okay, that's,
That's fair, I mean, and is it, what's the level of proof, like, on a renewal as opposed to a regional? Is it less
It's-
They have to submit, or the same, they have to submit
It's the same.
tax-
They have to provide proof of income. Well, for the renewals, you don't have to provide proof of age. We already know you're 65,
Right, okay.
you already have the exemption. But they just have to provide their income every year.
And it's based on last year's, so it's not like.
It would be, so the applications that came in as of March 1st were based on the 2023 income tax return.
Right, so you don't have to worry about the taxes on it.
The social security counts towards the income.
Well, not
That's-
anymore. The town opted out of counting social security. Remember, we went through that whole thing with Tommy John? He didn't want
At
to
all?
include the social
At all?
security at all. So now the town doesn't, but the schools still do. So
It's really good.
it's made the calculation a lot more difficult for my office because now we have to do calculations for town, county, and school.
Some towns include that, because there's a full social security and then there's that
Taxable,
non-taxable, right?
Yep.
And usually that non-taxable, they add, some towns add that on, right? But
right? Yeah,
not everybody. It's interesting, because, the rules really differ between.
they
it's
changed a lot last year.
You
Yeah.
guys have your work cut out for this. This is not an easy.
No,
Your
no,
office
it's
does a
not.
great job with this.
No,
Is
it's
this gonna
not.
make it harder for you?
No,
Just giving the
no,
6 inch?
no, it won't make
Easier.
it harder. It's not like we have, hundreds of them coming through, after March. It's just, a handful, but, you just hate to turn people away.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, like you said, are elderly people at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's the
Well,
next?
good.
one?
We'll let you know if we have, what's
Okay.
required to get this to
All
happen.
right, so the next one will be the ocean rescue then. These are copies of the legislation.
I guess would this be something similar to like volunteer fire department?
Yes. So this is for any members who belong to the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue. It is a 10% exemption off of the assessed value, just like the firefighters exemption. This was approved for members of the East Hampton and the Southampton Village. So when I sent an email out.
Oh, could you just say that again? Who else gets that?
East Hampton.
So this is not the school tax, it's just,
I believe the schools would have to
Adopt it.
adopt it, yeah.
So
Yeah, it
this
does
is
say
what-
school, yep, so they would have to adopt it.
they would have to adopt this.
They would have, yes, they would have to adopt this as well as the town.
So this doesn't cover West Hampton Ocean Rescue?
It doesn't, nope, it's just Southampton
Huh.
and East Hampton.
I don't know why he wouldn't include West Hampton.
Yeah, because these West Hampton and Quogue have their own.
Maybe we should find out to give that one time.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to include them, and if this has to be amended for that.
Yeah, but it's not just the town,
Yeah,
it's
it might have,
Southampton
yeah,
Village.
that might have to go through, someone in Scavone to include West Hampton, I'm not sure, because the legislation is just specific
Does
to
it-
East Hampton and Southampton Village.
It's not a more general law that says any ocean rescue in Southampton town.
Nope, it says specific, enrolled members of Southampton Village Ocean Rescue. It's
Where's that
specific
part?
To, it
The
is
beginning.
in.
Oh, in the-
Yeah, right in section 1, first sentence.
Because the others, the rest of it just seems to be
General.
any ocean rescue squad members in a certain municipality.
Could the first section, maybe this is a question for Jim, could the first section merely be just sort of like a legislative intent to say because of has to do with, that's what's, kind of sparked the legislative intent, but then it goes on to read more generally residing in a town.
Saying whether section 1
Could
could be interpreted to mean any ocean rescue.
It says, it specifically
It
says Southampton
it does,
Village
yeah.
Ocean Rescue.
I mean, I can certainly work.
I mean, I don't see why we couldn't do Southampton Village and then ask him to add
right.
West Hampton.
we could reach out. I'll send an email today.
Yeah, you want to talk to them, I can.
Or just remove Southampton Village Ocean Rescue and leave it more
Just
general
ocean
as
rescue.
to any ocean rescue in
the
any
town of
duly
Southampton.
recognized. Or
How many?
it's there's Southampton and West Hampton, I think, are the only two in Southampton town. West Hampton encompasses residents of Quogue, right, Maria?
Yes.
Okay. We
Alright,
could
so
get
if the
that.
town were going to, adopt this,
Tax calculation.
well, no, that's not hard. I can plug that right into the system and it'll just take off 10% automatically.
Okay.
There's no real, I don't need a calculator to do that.
Would they have to apply for it, though?
You have to apply for it.
Okay.
There would be an application, yes, and the state actually just put out the application, so those are available. However, it would not take effect until March of 2026 if the town.
So maybe we should just wait until it gets amended, hopefully, to add West
You could-
Hampton before we,
You could do
if
that.
it's not gonna be into effect until
You have
26
plenty of time to
anyway.
do that, yeah.
Why don't we do that? Mike?
Yeah.
What?
Ask him to add, to make it more general, so we can add West Hampton instead of putting this into place just for Southampton Village, because it's not
Do,
gonna take effect.
do we want to be specific, though?
No,
Do
I'm
you-
asking him to remove that so that any
Yeah.
duly recognized ocean rescue.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm
Maybe
going to
he
do.
didn't realize there was another.
Yeah, I don't
ocean
think he did. And then it's probably members of the Southampton Village Ocean Rescue that
That
came to him
got involved.
He
requesting
probably wasn't
this.
asked by any of the groups.
Or it just came, it was Fred's and it got
Mm-hmm.
carried over.
I didn't know there was.
What do they have to provide as evidence? In the application, they probably have to send in some kind of membership proof.
Well, right now, what we request for the volunteer fire departments is just a list of the active,
Roster.
roster of the active members. So that would suffice, as well, same thing.
So then do we want to withdraw that public hearing notice before they print the final agenda?
I think,
I
well,
mean, we can always withdraw it on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's wait to see what he comes back with.
Okay.
And I'll include the whole board and Jim
Okay.
so we could get direct information. And if we feel like it's going to need more time, I'll just withdraw and reintroduce.
Yeah.
Is that fine with you, Lisa?
That's fine.
It's not
We
going to
have
go into effect till next year anyway.
plenty
Yeah.
of time, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
what's that gonna, I mean, there's not that many members. It's not gonna
I
have a
don't
big
think so,
financial
yeah.
impact.
Probably under 20.
Probably 20 on each, maybe 40.
I don't think it's
10%.
not gonna have a huge impact.
Mm.
All right,
Till 1:30.
and the next one is the homestead.
They asked to reschedule.
Oh.
Here,
So we're at
so that.
Now, Tommy John again.
All right, so this one's a little more complicated.
We're short one.
Oh, are you?
You can share.
Okay.
Want to just wait a minute? Oh, share, okay.
So, the homestead exemption, that was just approved by the state for the town of Southampton is in regard to, well, it came about from 2019 when we put the freeze on the reassessments. And former supervisor Jay Schneiderman actually put together a committee to examine the impact of reassessments. And that committee actually, it consisted of, we had someone from the, I think it was Sean Hattrick from the Tuckahoe School District. We had Joe Savio from Douglas Elliman. Jim McLaughlin, Jim Ryan, yep. So what we had proposed was an exemption of $50,000 for anyone that had a star exemption on their property, who would be considered a year-round resident. And now this was to offset the increase, the steady increase every year as a result of the
Could you just
reassessment.
explain what a star, because people might
So the star exemption,
understand what a
it's,
star is.
the star exemption is issued by the state of New York, and it is applied toward the school portion of your taxes. So it's to give you relief on the school portion of your taxes. We currently have the towns administer the star exemption. The state administers the star credit. So if someone has a star exemption, they can actually switch over to the credit, whereas you actually save more if you take the credit. The state actually sends you a check every year rather than get the break off of your property taxes. So we decided that in order to lessen the blow of the increase every year as a result of reassessments, we would offer this homestead exemption of $50,000 to anyone having a star exemption. In addition to that,
Meaning what? So $50,000.
$50,000 of taxable value would come straight off the assessment before your taxes would be applied.
This is if we do a reassessment, you're
Only
saying.
in the
If we
event
do
of
a
a
reassessment,
Yeah.
then the dollar value of this, assessed dollar value is reduced by 50,000 before the calculation.
Right. Before the calculation.
And
of
that's
tax.
for anyone who gets the star
Anyone who gets the star.
exemption.
Yep.
Mhm.
So in addition to that, it was also proposed that so that there was not an increase, a huge increase from year to year from the reassessments, there would be a cap of a 5% increase every year.
Mhm.
Do you remember that? You were here then, yep.
I remember that too, because last May, the same thing came forward from Assemblyman Thiel's office, and
Right.
it had the 5% cap, and I thought at the time that it made sense so that people, you know, in the event of the reassessment, it wouldn't go from the 63% up to 100% all
Then
in
it
one
was
year.
pulled, right? It was pulled?
So,
That's what we all approved to go forward.
Right.
right. So that part was kind of questionable because I know the town board still had concerns. Well, are we ever going to get to the full amount then if we only do it in increments of 5 years? How
Yeah.
long are we going to do it for 5 years?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why the portion of the legislation was taken out. I'm not sure. But as far as I know, there was never any further discussion about it.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. You know, if it's so low as 5%, it's going to take a long time to get there, and you'll have to reassess again.
especially back then, I mean, this was in 2019 when we put the freeze on. And then, of course, 2020, COVID spiked the market, like, it just went crazy.
I mean, if it were 25% each year, you know, at least, you know, over those few.
And that would probably be an
Years would get
average
ya.
in the town, 25% increase. Because in 2019, when we started looking at the impact from the reassessments, Hampton Bays at that time would have seen, if we had done a reassessment in 2020, they would have seen an increase of over 30%. So that's why, you know, Jay said, well, wait a minute, we need to take a look at this.
All right, so then what happened when it actually went for the vote
So
in the assembly?
when it came back, that's when I noticed that that part about the 5% cap had been taken out, in addition to any mention of a reassessment. So right now, the legislation just looks like Southampton Town is offering a $50,000 exemption to anyone that has a star, regardless of a reassessment.
Oh.
That's the way it reads.
That could be dangerous.
Yes, because the town has over 5,500 star exemptions. And if we were to administer that,
50,000?
5,500, I'm sorry, 5,500.
And to qualify for the star basic is pretty open, right?
Has to be your primary residence.
That's all, right? And
Right.
What were the other
That pretty
qualifications?
much anybody.
So for the star enhanced, it's based on income and age.
Do you know how many people are there?
That's for seniors. But for the basic, as long as it's your primary residence, you're entitled to the exemption.
What?
You're entitled to the exemption if it's your primary residence. If you have, if you go to Florida in the winter and you have a homestead exemption there, then you can't get the basic star exemption here in New York.
What is the star exemption?
It is it's the exemption that's a reduction off the school portion of your tax.
Oh, no, but I mean, what's the percentage?
It depends on the school district.
Oh.
Well, the savings depends on your school district. So Eastport, I believe, saves the most. It could be like $1,000.
So the bill, the way it's written, we don't want to
We don't want to move forward on it, no, because
kill school
office
districts.
would not be able to handle that influx of applications.
And we'll also, like, the school districts are just,
And the school districts would never adopt it. Hampton Bays alone would see a decrease of $70 million off their taxable value, and it would be a savings of $800.
Can you say that again? It would see a reduction of
$70
$7 million?
off their
Wow.
taxable value. That would have to be distributed. It would have to be, they would have to account for that amount on their tax levy. So everyone else who doesn't have a star would be making up that.
you're gonna see a huge influx too of people changing this to their primary residence.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It was meant, I mean, Councilman Martell, it was meant for a reassessment. It wasn't never meant
for
for.
reassessment, yes. So
But it doesn't
when-
say that, in all fairness. I mean, I think we just assumed it, but the second part about the cap
No, in the-
does say on all annual assessment increases, but the first part doesn't condition it on that.
In the addition, in the original proposed law, it says,
This one is the recent one.
Right, so
It says-
I gave you 3 copies. I gave you the
Where's
proposed,
it
and
say
then I
that? I'm
gave you
looking
the
at
first
it.
bill,
The most recent one.
and then,
You're saying the most recent bill doesn't include that, correct?
no,
the
we took that
original-
out.
But the original one didn't have it either. I don't see that language in the original one. That's all I'm saying, that I think we assumed it, but it wasn't actually in there.
so the first bill?
Yeah.
That was put forth by Fred Thiel?
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
I mean, it just talks about a
Oh, you
homestead
mean it doesn't
exemption.
mention?
Assessment?
Yeah, and then the second paragraph talks about on all annual assessment
Right, and-
increases,
yeah.
there'd be a cap.
Right.
So maybe he, in his mind, thought he was opening it up just in general. That doesn't mean we have to.
Right.
I mean, and then what happened then, so this one went through under Fred, and then I think the governor requested some changes that Tommy John put through.
Well, I thought Tommy John was going to fix the language so that it clearly stated in the event of a reassessment.
Yeah.
That language is not in here.
Did somebody talk to him about that? Because I
Yeah,
didn't.
Yeah, he was still on council,
Yeah, we had
when the first
conversations about
legislation
this.
went through. And I brought it to council's attention that this is missing the language, and he said, oh, that's an easy fix.
Yeah, and then it got left out again.
Yeah.
So the first paragraph should say, that, as does the second, that it's only in the event of an annual, when you reassess an increase.
Well, thank you for keeping your eyes on this, Lisa, and also determining the effects that Hampton-based school would have seen.
Yeah, I would never imagine the schools would adopt this.
But the school would
They
have to
may-
adopt this as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And they may, I mean, even if it were, for reassessment, the schools still may not
Right.
may not adopt it because of
Any school.
So, I mean, so maybe we should start with outreach to the school, before we start trying to get him to redo a bill. If none of the schools are gonna say, if all the schools are saying to us, we don't care if it's a reassessment, we want full value.
If we just administer it for the town portion of the taxes, the savings is about $20.
Yeah, it's not worth the juice is not worth the squeeze. So, I mean, we may want to reach out to school districts. I mean, I'm happy to reach out to Lars and a few others and see if they would even want to entertain this if we get the language changed.
Well, the language has to change first, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, if the language is it worth going to him to have him change the language if
If the
they say
schools
to
are
us,
not-
we won't adopt this?
But you're saying
Like,
we
they should
would-
have been a part of the conversation before.
Right, I see what you're saying.
we just administer it. This has no impact on the town taxes?
It does, but it's like $20.
Yeah, it's very minimal. I think overall it would be about maybe 100,000 off the, no, it'd be 7 million off of the town's full value, and then about $100,000 that would have to be redistributed. It's not much, because it would be a savings of $20 for about 5,000 people.
And Lisa, I'll probably have them just reach out to you because they're gonna want numbers as to how it would affect them in the case of a
Yeah,
reassessment.
that's
and I don't
fine.
have that
Whenever there's a new exemption, I usually go to the school districts and do like a presentation of the impacts. So that's fine.
Okay. So the 70 million is on everybody that currently has STAR. That's what the exemption would be.
For Hampton Bays.
You're saying that would reduce the tax revenue to the Hampton Bay School District
Yeah.
by $70 million?
Well, the other taxpayers would have
Off
to.
of their taxable value off
Oh,
of the base. And then they would have to raise like an additional, $1 million.
So the question,
Maybe
so the
about $1
question
million
is, if you're
reduction
taking,
to
It's a
school.
lot for a small
so if
school
you're
district.
taking that amount of tax value off of the rolls, their taxes are also still gonna increase a lot more than they would have, correct?
Yeah, so they're
The
still
tax
not
rate's
gonna
gonna
get
go
the
up.
full savings because they still have to, they gotta pay into it too.
Difference, yeah.
Same thing for Tuckahoe and East Quogue School.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, in all honesty,
It's not big budgets.
we haven't really decided what we're doing about a reassessment, so it's all kind of a moot point until we get to that point too.
Once the water.
So this is kind of putting the cart before the horse.
Right. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention because right now, even without a reassessment, it looks like we're just giving
Yeah,
away
no,
something that we're not.
definitely can't do it. I mean, the schools definitely wouldn't support it. But yeah.
Yeah, well, the language, the taxes levied by such town, that you think this would also apply to the school portion of the tax bill?
If they, yeah.
If they
would
they'd
have to adopt.
adopt it.
Mhm.
Oh, so if we adopt it, but they don't, we would
Right,
start
the town
taking
could
it
adopt
off
it without the
ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the savings is very, very minimal for just the town.
Text me and said that he saved the plan.
The opt-in provision for 425 would apply like the other exemptions that.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's confusing, I can understand why that's.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
what else?
Well, there was one other piece of legislation that
What
Tommy
else?
John put forth. I don't know if you guys were aware of it, but it is for school districts that are bisected by, parcels that are bisected by school district boundary lines.
No, I hadn't heard about it. Have you,
Okay,
Michael?
I'll give it to you. We don't have to discuss it today. You might just want to take a look at it, but it is essentially anyone that has a property that is bisected by two school districts, they would have the option of paying their tax to one school district, possibly the one that they send their children to.
We currently do it.
They still pay taxes to both schools. So let's say someone over on Sandy Hollow is split by Southampton and Tuckahoe school districts. They pay taxes to both.
Right.
Wow.
This is giving them the option to pay taxes
To
to
one.
one.
But do we take their assessment and half it? Like,
So
each school district?
their assessment, so it's considered one parcel, but their assessment, it's a portion based on what the whole would be. So, yeah.
This was just proposed.
No, I think
February
this is-
26th.
this
Wow, he's moving.
takes effect immediately.
He's moving quick.
Oh, you mean it already got approved?
We would have to adopt it.
Yeah.
You know, how does that?
I mean, I've heard people talk about this. I mean, that they wish
Yes,
that it could.
effective date. This shall take
Makes
effect
sense. If you
immediately and
chose
apply
to-
to assessment roles being prepared. Yeah.
You're probably split, but you go to X school district.
And you're
What
paying
if you-
double tax.
Well,
You're not paying double tax.
but
Well,
you
split.
should, if your kids are going to X school district, all your taxes should go to X school.
What if you don't have kids?
Right. That's what I mean.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's a
Because I'll
general
choose,
question.
I'll choose to enter into the school district with lower tax rates
Yeah, right.
That's true.
if I don't have
That's
kids.
true. What happens
What?
if you don't have kids?
Oh, the lower tax.
Good observation.
Well, how would this do? I'm sorry. We just saw it just now.
10
But
ways
how,
to
I
game
like
the
that
system.
devious
how
minded
would
there.
this? How would one apply for this? Like, would they would have to?
choose?
I have no idea how you would apply for it. I don't know what happens when they get their
I'm going
bill for
Southampton.
both school districts and they're only gonna pay one.
Have you reached out to Tommy John about this?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Especially, I mean, when you talk about splits between Southampton and Tuckahoe, their tax rates are $2 and something to one and $6 and something to the other. And your kid's ultimately going to go to Southampton, so chances are you're going to pick the $2 tax rate.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can reach out to him and find out what the intent was behind this.
I'll also reach out too. I'll include the town board.
Because, I mean, at that rate, you get down to let's not pay tuition to districts anymore. Let's just, if I'm sending my kid to, East Quogue for elementary school, I want to pay their tax rate then. But once I move to West Hampton, I want their tax rate. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like letting people
So
pick
just
their,
text me,
tax
his
rate.
property's in half and half too.
What was that?
The person who just sent me a text about the transfer station, his property's half and half too. Half
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have
in
quite a few
Southampton
properties,
and
yeah.
half in Tuckahoe.
Yep.
And part of the village.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Quite a few properties like that. So. All right, that's it for me.
Thank you.
you.
You're welcome.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right, and so then the last topic we adjourned at the request of the person putting it forward. So that'll be rescheduled
Yes, because
on the presentation of the windmill.
a couple of people had to go out of town for family matters.
It's a good show.
All right, so that brings us to our supervisor, town council member liaison update. Cindy, are you ready to go?
Not the
All
second.
right, why don't we start down this end then? Rick?
Get the right-hand end. So last Thursday night, Councilman Iselli and myself went to Hampton Bays High School for This Is My Story reception. And basically, it was all in Spanish. The children in both the middle school and the high school spoke about how they got to Hampton Bays, their experiences getting here, being here, and their aspirations for the future. The entire program was done in Spanish, including the commentators, the teachers, the presenters, and it was done very well. We got to wear headphones so we could translate as much as we could, but it was touching. It was very nice to hear the kids, heartfelt stories. So it was a nice event to attend. Monday, I went on the Zoom for the Anti-Bias Task Force. The major conversation was about their annual picnic, which they're hoping to have towards the end of September. They ran into low attendance last year because they put it up against the Southampton Fest and the San Gennaro Feast at the same time. So we worked on a bunch of different ideas on how to improve attendance to that. Monday night, we had the Watermill CAC. Traffic mitigation came up, Michael, and, they're looking for a copy of the mitigation plan after we're ready to release it directly to them. We did talk about the roundabouts that are proposed in there, and they said it was 60-40 in favor. So
Oh, wow.
That's a good
great.
good indication. And last night, we had the Flanders Riverside Northampton Civic Association meeting. Kristen Doulos was there, as well as a couple of the local police officers who take care of the Flanders Riverside District. Talk about quality of life issues and still the difficulties they're having at Wildwood. A lot going on in Flanders. A lot of the issues have been around for many, many years. But I think at this point, the chief could not make it, so he sent a couple of the patrolmen. But I think we certainly should get the chief back there. And I think it's about that time for that yearly visit from Ryan Murphy about some code issues. And that's it.
Thank you.
Oh, everyone's pleased today that the outside is getting blacktopped.
Oh,
Yes.
yay.
Saw
You
that.
can smell it inside. Smell the oil. It's going to get striped. They get it all black. They're supposed to be all done blacktopping today and striped tomorrow and finished up on Saturday morning if they don't get it done. The West Hampton Activity Center and Senior Center, the plans are just about done. They're going to be in front of the planning board. I got a project update from the engineer department, some of the projects we're all working on. The outside town hall improvements are going out to bid on the 22nd of this month, opened on the 6th. Hopefully to start construction and repair somewhere in July and August. And we'll let everyone know inside that, let all the employees know how it's going to work out so we have no problems. We're working on streamlining the dumps up there to make it more easier for people, and also looking at put a glass crusher so we can recycle our own bottles. The glass to save the town a lot of money. And the Bridgehampton Community House, the columns are finally going to be restored. The bids are opening in another week or two. And Good Ground Road is being repaved today and was grinded yesterday and should be striped later today. And Newtown Road is being grinded today and blacktop tomorrow from one end to the other end. And the highway and the engineer department have been very busy.
Very,
It's
Grateful for
paving
those.
season.
yeah,
Paving
It's
season.
glad to
part
get
of
those
Squiretown
roads.
Road.
Yeah, the money's going quick when you
Yeah.
pave.
Yeah. Noyak
And
Road's probably
Noyak Road-
finished now?
Yeah, Noyak Road is all done.
Almost,
They have to finish striping it. It's 3/4 of it striped, and they have to finish the other half. I think they're doing it today or tomorrow. And I had a few complaints about it. People, it's so smooth, people are going a little bit too fast. I said, don't worry, Michael's putting some speed signs up.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Michael, what do you got?
You can go.
Well, I don't have anything other than I was just gonna hope everybody has lovely family gatherings for Passover and Easter.
Same. This week, I actually joined Chief Kiernan at the police department with our CTV team. Part of one of the recommendations of our task force final report is to actually enhance PSAs, traffic safety PSAs. So the chief is going to be. We did some filming of him, promoting and raising awareness of following the rules of the road. That will be going out on social media as well as on CTV and some of our other channels. Kevin and Andrew with our CTV team did a great job, a lot of different takes. So I really appreciate the chief for all of that work, and he's really happy to see that getting started. Also, I was at the North CCAC meeting this week. They're very happy about Noyak Road. They're anticipating certainly North Sea. The county will hopefully get started with that repaving project. Just a couple of announcements. On June 21st, there is going to be a first-time home buyers assistance program resource fair for those seeking information about down payment assistance, as well as our ADU program. That's going to be June 21st at 11 a.m. at the Hampton Bay Senior Center. So if those that are interested in learning about our CHF programs, how to qualify for a down payment assistance, or if you're interested in the ADU program, we'll be having staff there to assist people and provide some information. And I'll just mention that, there's going to be part of the Great East End Cleanup. Noyak is going to be meeting at Long Beach on April 22nd from 3 to 5. So you could contact the Noyak Civic Council if you want some more information on that.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy?
Saturday evening, I attended the Hampton Bays Ambulance Awards dinner. There was lots of service awards given out, but one that really stood out was the CPR Saves Award. And the reason why it stood out was because Megan Rogan, who was actually the individual who was saved by our fire marshals, who we honored on her birthday, was there with her fiance and her mother, and it was just, she was reunited with the responders that came to the call that day, and she's here because of all of them. So it was a really touching moment. I'm working with the Addiction and Recovery and Behavioral Health Committee. We are more than likely that committee started as the opioid task force. Then it became the Addiction and Recovery and Behavioral Health Committee. We are now looking at reinventing that and not so much having the committee. We are working with Hugs, and Jamie Bowden and Tracy Colson have been working with me as well. Kim Laube has really taken the lead on this. We are actually trying to form a drug-free communities coalition. I would be the representative from the town. It would take the place of the committee, and there is a significant amount of grant funding available for those coalitions. SAFE and Sag Harbor is currently at the end of their funding, so we would be basically stepping in where they are stepping out simply because their funding period has ended. And it's, I believe, a very timely thing because of, we're looking at several cannabis dispensaries opening in the town. This would give us, federal funding and a real solid direction on, best practices. And the great thing about the coalition is there's 12 sectors. It's healthcare, it's, clergy, it's town government, youth, all different organizations coming together to basically, we meet once a month and we have a discussion on how best to direct our efforts. But those efforts are directed based on real data, instead of just, wouldn't it be nice to do this month? It's really data driven. There is some serious money behind it. So we are in the process of, Kim Laube is actually doing the heavy lift of applying for that grant as we speak. I believe the grant is due on May 8th. And we've been working and putting the people in place for the coalition. So that's something that I think would be really great to have in place. I know Lars Clemenson is on board, as is chief, and a bunch of other community leaders that are really ready to engage and have things in place for as these dispensaries come on to make sure our youth aren't impacted and or to the least extent possible, and we have a real pathway forward onto making sure we are responsible as a town, and everything, as I said, is data driven.
Just as to find out.
Yesterday, Chief Fire Marshal Chief Rankin and I went on a field trip to Staten Island, and we met with, there was fire marshals and town representatives from, I'm probably going to forget somebody, but East Hampton, Riverhead, Brookhaven, Supervisor Panico was there. We toured a BESS facility on Staten Island. We spent 3 hours there with industry experts. And it was really, to me, it was great to actually be on site with one that was up and running and see it in a community. Interestingly enough, now I feel even better about our code because there are things that we have put in our code that weren't in place at this site. They didn't have capture for runoff water. They had aggregated actually 2 properties, which our code does not allow. They had 5 megawatts on one property and 3 megawatts on the other, but there was no delineation. But there was also good things that came out of it. We asked questions, and Supervisor Panico actually raised the question of, and as he's done in the press, of it's really it's LIPA and it's the state that's pushing these things, saying we need, but they're not doing any of the lifting when it comes to getting the information out to the public, why we need these, how they look, what the safety standards are, and they're really putting the onus on us for something that they're telling us they need. So, he is calling on the state to basically be more proactive in getting the information out to the public, which I wholeheartedly agree with. But it was really great. There was the ESRG, which is a safety group. It was a 9-dot facility. There was members from NYSERDA there. The NFPA was there. It was just a lot of great questions were asked. And like I said, we spent 3 hours. I froze. I couldn't feel my feet at the end of it. It was so windy and cold. John and I are walking back to the truck trying to get our legs to move again. But it was really a lot of information. Like I said, it was 3 hours of discussion and conversation. So it was actually a really good thing. And like I said, I'm happy to tell you guys more independently on what we saw and what we asked. But I feel like we're in a better place, and I feel like what we did with our code is the right thing. And, the industry understands that we can't just say, we know it's safe and it's safe. People have to feel safe. So.
And I think we're ahead on our code, and we'll be getting the revisions back shortly. And some of the other town supervisors have asked for us to share it with them because everybody's going through the same thing.
Interestingly enough, when we said we had the 300-foot setback to property line, Supervisor Panico brought up yesterday that there's a bill in the Senate that has a good chance of passing through the state that's going to require 250 feet. So,
good. So
yeah, we're right there.
We're right there. Yeah, and taking it slow.
Yep.
In terms of size. Well, thank you. Those all sound very good. I did want to say I had the a monthly Pine Barrens Commission meeting yesterday, and we talked about the wildfires, and they had already in place a wildfires task force that meet periodically, and so they're looking at recommendations, and I know County Fres is doing the same thing, and there's lots of groups meeting to dissect and talk about how great things were in terms of the response, and if there's anything that can be done better. And so the challenge is just getting everybody to, collaborate and get one report. So that's what we're working on. And some of the recommendations are to have additional access points through the Pine Barrens and buffers around buildings, setbacks, because the trees are now starting to encroach on the buildings. And we were told, in one instance, the firemen had to get on the roof of the building to get at the fire. So if you can have bigger setbacks, and
So are they going to allow more clearing?
that's what the Pine Barrens is talking about.
Yeah.
So, and public outreach, education, how to make your home safer.
Yeah.
So we'll, keep on that and get back to you with any developments.
I will just add that that Suffolk County is having a pine beetle symposium
Oh yeah,
on the 23rd.
I'm gonna go to that.
It's from 9 a.m. to 12 at the Riverhead campus of Suffolk Community College to talk about what the state of the issue is with the pine beetle and also approaches to mitigating it. There's a lot of coordination that has to happen with New York State DEC, but there's talks about how to overcome some of the
You
challenges.
start getting rid of the dead trees from the last 2 years.
Yeah, County Executive Romaine was very clear on the fact that he wants to see action on this. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said they can't get rid of all of the undergrowth because it does provide habitat and, places
There's a lot
for
of trees leaning against other trees ready to come down.
so.
Take a walk around Red Creek Park. The trail is awful. Beetles just came down. It was like a wildfire, went right down the road, and now they're all falling on the trails, getting pushed to the sides.
Oh, that's
It's a horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we could start moving those, that'd be great.
All right, very good. Well, if no one else has any other comments, then I move to go into executive session to discuss some legal advice and acquisition.
Just that town hall is closed tomorrow.
Town hall is closed tomorrow, yes. And as I said before, I hope everyone has a nice long weekend and happy Easter and family gatherings for Passover. So, and with that, then I move to go into the executive session for the acquisitions and just acquisitions. And
Second.
we'll close after that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.